This is the best time to be a Stormlight Archive fan. With the building anticipation of the final book being just 2 months away, I knew I had to honor the release by taking on a special project. I'm going to be recreating the most iconic and memorable scenes from the Stormlight Archive into book Nook Dioramas. Today we're going to start off with the Way of Kings, and I'm going to test your book knowledge, so if you guess the scene I'm recreating, comment below and see if you're right before the big reveal. To make this book Nook, I'm going to be using the official Stormlight Archive miniatures from Brotherwise Games, and I knew I had to get the full Rhythm of War bundle because I wanted to make sure I had all my favorite characters. My personal favorite miniature of the whole collection has to be the Sil one. I really wish we could have gotten more spread minis, but that might be something for the future, and I'm really looking forward to that. Now, in order to actually make this project, I had to pick up a few skills, primarily being terrain building and miniature painting. I found out that people use this pink insulation foam to make rock formations, and that's what I ended up using to try and recreate the Shattered Plains. It was definitely a challenge trying to get the Shattered Plains into a small book Nook, but I think I did my best with the references I was able to find. Now with my composition laid down, it was time to do a very scary part, which is breaking the minis I spent so many hours painting. I had to do this because the round bases really stood out on the rock formations. Once I was done with that, I could go back to skill I actually did know, which is electronics, and for that I added some LEDs inside of the book Nook. I don't think I'm the only one here that keeps their books in kind of a dim area, and so I knew I needed to add something to have this diorama stand out. Once I had that finished, the walls of the book Nook were looking pretty plain, so I took it upon myself to try and recreate the painting of the cover of the Way of Kings. Now I definitely am not a painter, so for this I had to pull upon some professional reference, which are Bob Ross tutorials, and I think I did a pretty good job. Maybe I could have added a few happy little trees, but I don't think that would be accurate to the Shattered Plains. Once I was done with the painting, I was able to move back into the terrain, and I first started off with a bright red paint, which I then followed with a black wash in order to bring out the depths of the recesses, and then I followed that up with a dry brush. Now, I found out most of these videos from the same tutorials I found on terrain building, and I think I did a pretty good job at recreating an accurate looking rock texture. Then, I grabbed some black 3.0, which is the world's supposed blackest paint, and for this, I was hoping to really capture the depths of the chasm. I know I didn't have the space to actually make a chasm in the book Nook, so I was hoping that this would really capture that feeling of the deepness, the darkness you would kind of feel looking down into one of these. With all that said and done, I could start working on the whole piece together and not just in its separate pieces. The first thing I did was I added some smaller rocks and sand in order to create some more realistic ground terrain. I can imagine that with all the high storms, the Shattered Plains are a pretty debris-filled spot, or at least that's what I imagine. I could be wrong in this. But I also noticed that the sand and rocks I chose are way too light, so I had to darken those down with some oil paint. Once that was all said and done, I was finally in the home stretch of this book Nook build, and I can confidently say that this has been one of the projects I learned the most new skills on and for. It was definitely out of my comfort range and what I typically do, but this book series is so special to me I just knew I had to go above and beyond to do something to honor it. And now that I'm assembling the final book Nook, let me know. Here's the final reveal. I hope you guys enjoyed the journey to the destination of this finished book Nook. I definitely learned a lot and I had a ton of fun making this. Leave down in the comments any ideas you guys have for the Words of Radiance book Nook. I have a few ideas, but let me know if you guys want to see anything special. And that's about it for this build. See ya!